Alright guys, we're moving on to day 2 of elimination. So it's a very similar process, but we're adding one more step into the mix. So once we start these equations, we need to first look at what variable is going to cancel out. So that's our step 1, is pick a variable to eliminate and remove. So if I'm looking at all of these terms, I'm going to kind of break it down for each one. So for x, I have 5x and 2x. Okay, my second one, I have 6y and 3y, and then my numbers don't really matter in this case. Okay, so if I want to cancel out something, I want to be able to manipulate one of the problems so something cancels out. So if I look at the x's, I have 5 and 2, or there's no easy way of making those exactly the same. But if we look at our y's, we have 6 and 3. Well, how can we make that y cancel out? Well, we can multiply this entire equation by -2. We know we want them to be the opposite. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, but I'm going to keep my first equation exactly the same. So I'll have 5x plus 6y equals -8. That one's not going to change. But I'm going to go ahead and multiply that -2 to every single thing in that that second equation. So I've got 2x times -2, that gives me a -4x. And then I have 3y times -2, that's a -6y. And then that equals -5 times 2, which is 10. Okay, so here's my new equation. And now I can see that my y's are the same and opposite. So I know when I add down, those are easily going to cancel out. Okay, so after we cancel those out, we can add down the other variables. So 5 plus -4, or 5 minus 4, just gives me a 1x or an x. We can drop down that equal sign. We've got -8 plus 10. Well, that gives me 2. Okay, so we did all this stuff. This is pretty much steps 2 and 3. Beautiful, all packed into this wonderful space up there. Okay, so I chose a variable to eliminate. I multiplied one or both of the equations to get those terms to be exactly the same, and then I added down. Now I'm left with x equals 2, but I still need to find what my y value is, so I need to plug it in. So I'm going to pick either equation. It doesn't matter which one. I always pick the first one. So I have 5 times 2 plus 6y equals -8. Well, I'm going to go ahead and solve that. Well, 5 times 2 gives me 10. So 10 plus 6y equals -8. Minus 10 on both sides. I've got 6y equals -18. Divide by 6 on both sides. Y equals -3. Well, remember, I don't want your answer as just x equals 2 and y equals -3. I want it as a point. So your final answer here is going to be 2, -3.